forget, you can hear the full-length, longer version wherever you get your podcasts. When the guest comes in, we have a little chat before the cameras start rolling, which is what's happened today. And I have to say, I've been watching the work of Mr. Claes Bang because it is he. And you're much nicer and softer and friendlier and approachable than I was expecting.
Oh, really?
Well, yes, because what do you mean, oh, really? You know that you can be quite a sinister presence.
Yeah, but I'm not like that at all. I know that as well. So, but I know there's been quite a lot of stuff out there where I'm really not very nice.
I will say.
Yes. That's true.
You're an even better actor than I thought. Because,
my Lord.
Because look at this.
Oh, my Lord. Yeah. No, but I really enjoy doing. I mean, as you probably, I get this with most colleagues, you know, that we sort of tend to enjoy the grittier, kind of like edgier.
Yeah.
There's more to play with somehow. And, you know, for instance, for Bad Sisters, it was like, you know, when you walk away from a situation, you think, oh, I should have said that.
Yes.
That guy said it. It was never about, you know, forgetting to sort of like just come in and put the knife in. He did that every time. And
he was a horrific character. So Bad Sisters, Apple TV, Sharon Horgan, who I worked with literally decades ago, 2 decades. What a powerful piece of work. And your character was extraordinary.
I mean, I remember when we were shooting it, because it's like the marriage goes from like really shit to disaster, right? So we needed to balance that over like 10 episodes. And also for Anne-Marie Duff's character not to come across as like a total moron. Why was she there and why did she stay?
But people do stay
They do.
in awful relationships.
I've had people, you know, write to me saying, I know that guy and I know someone who's with him and we need to do something about it. And if it's prompted that's great.
When did you started out in theatre.
Mm-hmm.
Is it fair to say, or is it not fair to say, that if we looked at a pie chart of your roles, a bigger part of the pie chart would be darker, foreboding, sinister characters, or is that just what I've seen of you?
No, I think, I mean, over the last like 10 years where I'm mainly worked internationally, that it has been a little bit in that department.
But before that, what was it like?
Yeah, I mean,
then?
I thought I was very much in Denmark, where I'm from. I was always the lovely guy next door.
Really?
Yeah, you know what your mother-in-law's dream of a son-in-law. Yeah, I've had a lot of those.
Yeah, because if I didn't know you and if I hadn't seen your work, based on the experience we've had in the last 20 minutes, that's what I'd be casting you as. So how fantastic then to go from that to these meaty parts. But how did it happen?
I'm not entirely sure. I mean, the thing that sort of opened every door for me was that movie that won the Palm in 2017, The Square, which I am so bloody proud of. I mean, I can't thank that guy enough for putting me in that movie, because it's really opened so many doors for me. And the whole experience was just, that was driving the Ferrari of our job, I would say, in the sense that I got to do everything with that character. And we had so much time on set, because he spends all his money on time on set with his actors. Yeah. So we really got into the nitty-gritty of it. And I think the logic is when a movie wins in Cannes, the whole industry sees it. Yeah. Everybody, everywhere. Yeah. And then they see this guy, and he's got like 30 years of experience. He's got a decent English. He can carry a movie for 2.5 hours. Yeah. And
so they're excited by the discovery, because you come fully formed for them.
I sort of had a feeling that, you know, when I walked into a producer's office to have a talk about a future project or something, that they were like, oh, he's bankable. That shifted the thing for me from going from like, I'm mainly working in Denmark, a little bit in Germany, Sweden, to sort of like have a much bigger marketplace.
What was that feeling like?
I thought that could never happen, something like that.
Must have been wonderful.
It was so incredible.
And fantastic, saying that you go from playing like the nice guy next door to the more interesting, darker roles.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it was quite funny, as we spoke briefly before we started, and we both know Stephen Moffat and Sue Virtue that cast me in Dracula. And it was quite weird because that is a quite dark role, right?
Oh, I'll say.
Yes, but also in their version, very funny.
Yes.
Because I mean, Stephen Merchant and
Mark Gatiss.
And
Steve Moffat.
Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss, they are very funny.
Indeed.
And I actually asked them, so do you think we need 3 jokes on each page? And they were like, well, it was shooted.
Yeah.
And then we'll take some of it out if it's too much. Yeah, because I said, this needs to be scary. It's Dracula. So, but I was actually kind of, when they approached me, I was like, yeah, but are you sure the world needs another Dracula? Because there are so many out there. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I was dead scared because when you take on something that iconic, you can only ever get it wrong.
Yeah, and you're following in the footsteps of Gary Oldman.
Bela Lugosi, Christopher Lee. I mean, all those, and they've done incredible work with that guy. But then what I thought really shaped this was actually Steve and Mark's writing. Mm. That he was so funny was actually quite cool.
Yeah.
That he had that sort of like other side to him. And then we got to see him and we got to be with him 360. And I don't think we'd ever done that with Dracula really before. He's always lurking in the shadows, jumping out. And then
something that was lurking in the shadows and then leapt out of the shadows was a piece of his body, which was exposed to a group of nuns.
That's right, yes. I mean, the thing that we came to find was that when you, in that scene, I enter that scene as a wolf. And when I will tell you this: when you travel in a wolf, you are naked.
Of course you are.
You have to be.
You have to be.
We really investigated, and we found out when you're traveling in a wolf, you are naked.
There are no clothed wolves.
No,
None have ever been found.
No. And you could never really fit yourself in there with all your shoes and everything. Mm-hmm. So, in that scene, and I think I actually made it slightly worse for myself because I said to him, listen, when we get to this, he becomes a wild animal because he's like, there's all the blood and there's all that, and that really gets him going. So I'm going to be all over the chip shop here. So I can't be wearing something because then you can't, I mean, then all of a sudden I have to be conscious of where's the frame, where's the camera? Oh, now we can't use it because now we sort of saw. So I said, I'm just going to take it all.
You're very comfortable with your nudity.
I am not anymore. I'm not doing anymore, I can tell you.
Why?
I'm sick of it. Yeah. I did a play out in Islington 2 years ago, Daddy.
Yeah.
A lot of nudity with me and Tariq Jared, who played my wonderful, beautiful young boyfriend. And, you know, I just realised at the end of that play, I'm not doing anymore now. I've done my naked duty.
But what about the one that your father came to see?
Yes. That was my, my showcase at drama school.
You're naked in your drama school showcase?
Yes. A play by an English playwright. I think he was called Paul Godfrey.
I don't know.
The play is called A Bucket of Eels.
A Bucket of Eels, right.
A Bucket of Eels. And it's sort of set in a forest. And I am like this ecological modern Tarzan kind of figure that has moved there. And I've just sort of said goodbye to civilization. I'm now living there. So I've taken all my clothes off. What I had was like quite long green hair, shades, mirrored shades.
Yeah.
And then I had like a belt and a quite massive knife.
You had a belt and a knife, but nothing else?
Nothing else.
I think wearing a belt when you're naked, if anything, just makes you even more naked.
In a way.
Doesn't it?
And then there was a lot of mud on me.
Yeah.
That sort of was like the only, I mean, I was young and I was more fit than I am now. I was like 29 or something. I was all right. So I was up that tree. That was like probably the grandest, coming onto the stage, stuff going on here on the stage. Now all of a sudden you see someone from 6 meters up. Something is coming down and it's this naked man. And I remember these people saying, so when you come down, can you do it in a slightly less so like in a way that doesn't, grab all that much attention? And I said, listen, you put me up a tree, I'm wearing no clothes, And I'm coming down. You probably just have to stop what you're doing and just watch.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't really, but we've got dialogue and stuff. Yeah, I said, listen, this is what can we just, and then we so I came down, and then I wanted to fuck everybody in the place. I was like a dog on them all the time.
Yeah.
So I was on the floor, and at one point, I think I must have put my bum right in my dad's face.
Oh, sweet Lord. Yeah.
I remember where he sat, because it was a quite small theatre, and he sat in the front row, and he was never comfortable going to the theatre. He didn't like it. He only came because, I mean...
Well, he didn't like the theatre just in general?
In general, I think theatre was not so much for him.
Okay.
I think he always felt a little bit alienated by it, that he felt like there was something, I don't quite understand, this is so arty, or... I think he so preferred it when I started to do a bit of television. He'd just sit in his living room and say, ooh, that's my son. That's
he watch you on the bridge or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So what happened was that because the audience was so close to us, when we came in after intermission, I could sort of see he was not there.
Oh.
Yeah, that was not good.
What's the difference you found? Because we mentioned Sharon Horgan. You did The Outlaws with Steve Merchant.
Yes.
So those are two people with essentially comic sensibilities.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, Sharon, Bad Sisters has a very dark humour to it. But what's it like when you work with those people? Do you see a difference in the way their minds work coming from that comic base?
Yeah, that's interesting. Because I think... I do. I mean, and also Moffat and Gatiss, I mean, they have
of course,
it's a thing that they it's their sort of little vehicle, the humour, I feel. And I couldn't be funny if my life depended on it. In the sense that I'm not like funny bones Jim Carrey kind of funny in any way, but I can be put in something, and if the situation is well written and it is funny, I can probably get in there and do my thing, and then it will be funny.
On The Outlaws, you had the, I'm guessing, thrill of working with Christopher Walken.
I had.
I mean, that must have been...
God.
I've talked to Steve about directing Christopher Walken, and he acted with him as well. But how much of a thrill was that?
That was insane. I mean, he is, I suppose, he's a hero, right? For us all in this business.
Well, he's in that pantheon of your De Niro's, Pacino's, Harvey Keitel, all those kind of guys,
I did a movie a couple of years ago called The Band Orange Heresy with Mick Jagger and Donald Sutherland. And the part that Donald Sutherland played in that was actually, in the beginning, it was to be Christopher Walken. And then scheduling and, all that happens, and then he couldn't. Then Donald came on and was brilliant, and he's he's as big a star for me as Christopher Walken. But we did that movie. I'm very, very happy with that. I thought it was really cool. But when I met Christopher Walken the very first time, he took my hand. He said, "I'm Christopher. I just saw that movie that you did that I was supposed to be in. You're brilliant in it." And then, then he just had me right there. Then he could just do anything with me, right?
That's a great opening line from Christopher Walken. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Wow. And what about Jagger then? Did you, how was your experience with him?
He was just the sweetest guy.
Doesn't he exude incredible energy?
Yes, but it's sort of in a very kind of quiet way. It's not like, ooh. Yeah, but I mean, it was so weird. When he was on set, it was like everybody was just in a better mood.
Well, yeah, because Mick Jagger's there. So you're going to say, and all he's ever done all through your life is make you smile, isn't it, Mick? Someone like Mick Jagger, any of those big people, whether it's McCartney, Elton John, all they've ever done is make you feel better.
Yeah, what I really thought was so cool was that you sort of had the feeling that he knew, I'm out of my element here.
Right.
This is not my thing. I mean, he's done quite good movies. I mean, performance is really, really good, I think. But it's been a while. So he was very, very humble. he was very sort of like accommodating. What can I do?
Yeah.
What can I bring to this to sort of just make sure that we
Yeah, but I
get
think
it?
one of the things that keeps him vibrant is he is curious.
Yes,
and
it seems it.
he's enthusiastic.
Yes. Yeah.
He's curious.
Yeah.
He's open to things. And that incredible energy. Before we started filming, we were talking about the fact that I was saying, "Oh, you work with my friend this and my friend that," but of course, and you made the point that you've come to this world as an outsider. So people like Sharon, who I've known for 20 years, or Steve for 20 years. So we all have this shared history.
I mean, you went to drama school together, some of you probably, or did other things.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have had that whole thing of 30, 35, 40 years in the business, doing stuff with each other. One person going that direction and then meeting for another project. The day that it was announced that the Square went to Cannes, I turned 50.
Did you?
Yes.
How old are you now?
57.
So a lot has happened then since then in a really short time.
Yes, because the thing that happened, Rob, was that I got greedy. Yes. I got greedy when all of a sudden what I have to offer was put on that shelf in that supermarket where everybody could see it. Yes. I just went for it. I was like, okay, I don't have small kids, so I can just travel.
That's such an important distinction to make for people.
Yeah.
Because if normally you get to 50, you're going to have kids, you're going to have this, or small children, they need you there. Mm-hmm. But you were in that position where you could go wherever you want.
Yes, and I just took my wife with me if she wanted to come or went back and forth. So I literally was like, okay, if there's anything interesting out there, we'll just have to make it all fit together. And I think the year that I did the Band Orange Heresy, I did Girl in the Spider's Web, I did the last premiere, Band Orange Heresy, I did Bay of Silence, I did Glassroom, I started The Affair and Dracula.
Wow!
In 1 year.
In 1 year?
Yes. Yeah.
What an intense period of creativity for you then.
It also was.
Because there are usually gaps, there are gaps and something.
But there were no gaps. It was overlapping and going back on one thing to do a little one day on that and then come back to that. So it was kind of mad. But I feel in that sense, if you have the energy to do that, it also, I mean, you take something from one thing and you put it into the net. It has that. There's that thing of being in that creative flow that just really one thing informs the other and it goes back and forth like that. So what I've come to find out, and I think I am getting better at it and still not actually totally, but that remember to just go back and visit the instrument and go back in there and because that is where there's always more to be found.
Yeah, but isn't it the simple thing of you've got to have something that other people want?
Yes.
So when you were in that cop show, when you auditioned for that, you had something that the producers of that show wanted.
Yeah.
But then you were in that, but nobody else went, oh, we want that. Mm-hmm. Then you do the Square and people go, and it's just right.
Yeah.
And suddenly you have value and people go, I think it's as simple as that. You've just got to, and you've got to show, not tell.
Exactly.
You've got to show.
And remember, no one can do you better than you.
Oh, yeah, that's a fascinating. So you've got to stop trying to be like the people you want to be.
You don't want to try and be what you think they want.
Yeah.
You don't want to try and live up to some expectation that nobody can actually really tell you what is. The only thing you can actually, I play everything as myself. Yeah. Everything in that sense that I always try to, even for Dracula, try to find what I have somewhere in there, in that piano, in that instrument.
Which of the actors that you've worked with since the Square, since everything went boom, which ones have you learnt from? Which ones have you, I mean, you can learn something from everyone, but which ones particularly have you looked at and gone, interesting?
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
Or what do you observe? You know the actor David Suchet?
Yeah,
best known as Poirot, I suppose.
Yes.
Do you know? You don't
I know the name. I can't get is that the... With
the moustache, yeah.
Yes.
That's his most famous role. But he's over here. He's been this celebrated stage actor, Shakespeare Company.
I'm quite sure I know.
But I did a thing. I was in a costume drama with him years ago. I had a few little scenes with him. But I found that fascinating to watch an actor. We were this far away from each other, sat around a table. Someone with all his experience.
Yes.
And just watching him work. Mm-hmm. And also the amount of relaxation.
Yeah.
Because that's an interesting
relaxation
quality,
is the
isn't
core
it?
of our work.
I think it is. Took me a long time to realise that.
Yeah, but if you can just really relax into something.
Sometimes I think you can spot. I won't name the thing, but there's a great thing that's streaming at the moment, and there are some wonderful performances in it. And I sit there, as I'm sure you do, analysing it a bit more than just someone who isn't an actor would. And all these main parts, they're wonderful. But there's one or two of the smaller parts where they don't have that level. They're not bad,
No.
but I can see that, they're a little bit tight playing it.
In that department, I think, Donald Sutherland really had that thing, that quality. At that point when I worked with him, he is an old man now, and he doesn't walk so well. He walks with a stick, but he knew exactly what to ask for to get himself to that, to where he could relax into it. So what do we need to do, so and so and so, and then when he had all that,
I love seeing those old guys working, especially someone like him who has had a sort of like a Gene Hackman type career or a Michael Caine career, just in the sheer volume of films.
Yeah.
And they will have played everything within their palette, won't they?
They have,
by that age, right? Anything that they're capable of doing.
Yeah.
They will have done, and you can just watch them and learn. So you said that the first year after Square, you got greedy. You're quite greedy now, because
Yes,
I was
I am.
looking and seeing you've got. Are you not shooting several things, or
I'm shooting a couple of things right now, and I'm doing a post work for stuff, but I have like so much coming out this year, because somehow it's sort of crammed itself into like the first 8 months of this year. So I've already had, like, this year the Stockholm Bloodbath came out.
Yeah.
I've had that Master and Margarita come out.
Yeah.
And The New Look. They've all come out. And now Outlaws is coming out.
Yeah.
And Bonjour Tristesse is coming out. And William Tell.
Tell me about William Tell. That sounds really interesting.
Which, when I leave here, I'm going to go and do the last bit of ADR for that.
Right. Tell people what ADR is in case they don't know.
ADR is when you have fucked up a line, or if an aeroplane all of a sudden came flying through the sky when you were just at your most brilliant.
Yeah.
And you need to fix sound. So
it's also when they add some dialogue
and also,
to help explain through this. Usually when the character is back. Yeah. So it'll be somebody leaving a room, and if you're an actor, you'll notice the slightly different feeling where they go, well, we better go and see the inspector now before it's too late.
Exactly. That is also ADR.
And it stands for ADR?
It stands for Automated Dialogue Replacement or something, I think.
Well, that may be what they call it now. In my day, they called it additional dialogue recording.
That is, I mean,
Automate, but then, of course, I speak one language. You speak
4-ish.
So you win.
Yeah.
Whatever you think it is what it is.
Rob, it's like this. Nobody speaks my language. I have to learn languages when you go out into the world, you're quite sure that you'll be able to just have a little bit of you can chat with people. I have never in my life met anyone that had another first language that could speak Danish, ever. Ever. People, why would you sit down and learn a language that 5 million people speak that does not have, we've got H.C. Andersen and we've got Kierkegaard, right? Those two writers, but we don't have massive Danish literature that you would want to read in the original language. So you're
going off to do William Tell. You're doing ADR on that.
I'm doing William. We did that last fall in Italy, in Rome, and up in the map. It's a Swiss Braveheart.
Oh,
it is.
Wow. Okay.
William Tell is a story about the guy that shoots an apple off his son's head, which he is forced to do because otherwise his family will be killed.
Yes.
So he's given this dilemma, this sort of like Sophie's Choice in reverse or something like that. Yeah. And he's forced to do that by the Austrians, the Hungarians that are sort of trying to take over what is to become Switzerland. And this is why William Tell is famous, I think, because they sort of see it as as you know, the apple is like when he sort of shifts and decides, okay, I'm going to go and join the resistance and kick those Austrians and Hungarians out of our country.
Yeah.
And that is in a way the starting point of what we know as Switzerland today.
Right.
That is there'll be people saying, Claes, that is absolute bollocks.
Yeah.
But that is sort of like, because at that point, it wasn't a country. It was like different cantons, and they were sort of like a little bit fighting each other. But now they came together and they kicked those other people out.
When is that coming out?
I think they're hoping to get it ready for that stretch of Venice, Toronto, Zurich festivals.
So you'll be doing all that. How do you find that side of the business?
I'm not so good at it. I like doing what we do right now because we're having a real chat about it.
Just two very intelligent men having...
And it could even be that we weren't that intelligent, but I mean, just the fact that we're actually...
Two very intelligent men.
Let's go with that.
Two very intelligent, very attractive men in their late 50s.
In their late 50s with something to say.
Could play mid-50s.
Could play mid-50s. I think my agents would go as far as to say, I could go early 40s.
I think my agents would go as far as to say I could play early 70s.
But I mean, yeah.
Well, you haven't argued with it. That's interesting. It's so nice to meet you. And
it's been so lovely for you to have me here. I mean,
it has been.
Much.
It has been. It's been a thrill.
There was something I wanted to say.
Hang on, he's got more to say.
I've got more to say. What was it?
He won't let us finish.
When it's a real conversation.
Yes.
And someone is actually interested in the work and I always find it also quite interesting, you know, to have these talks with other actors, because we don't really do that. We go for a pint at the pub, right?
Yeah,
but we don't really do that.
Oh, I know. I love this kind of, you know, how does the watch work? You know, pulling
exactly.
It apart.
Open up, and how does that whole thing? I did like a podcast series back home a year ago. What's your favorite movie in the world? And I sat down with people from the industry. I mean, not only actors, but also directors and makeup artists and light people and everybody.
Yeah.
And we watched that movie, the one they picked, and then we talked about it. And then we talked about how, you know, the whole, and then we got into that, you know, talking about the whole business and the job of it, like in a way that that we don't do so much. And I think it's actually, so that part of it I really like this, you know, doing the little, so say something funny in 5 seconds. I mean, we've just established I couldn't be funny if my life depended on it. So
if Sharon Horgan, Stephen Merchant, Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss are with you can.
Yeah, but if they will just write something funny for me to say, I'll try and get it,
Well, it's genuinely really lovely to talk to you.
Very lovely to talk to you.
You're much nicer than I expected.
You're exactly what I expected.
Well, that's...
And I expected very, very nice. So,
I expected very, very little.
No, I expected very, very nice. You come across very
well. That's
very,
lovely. Hey, Claes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
The podcast is finished.
Done. Should we sing? What about the song?
Well, it's my birthday tomorrow.
That's what I mean. Happy birthday, dear
me.
Happy birthday, dear
me. Happy birthday, dear me. Happy birthday to Rob. That's a thrill.